What's good, Relish Rothery here? If you haven't heard or seen by now, on Wednesday, June 19th, which was also Juneteenth, of course, Congress held a hearing on the whole issue of reparations for slavery and stuff. Now, of course, everybody have their own little opinions and thoughts about reparations. Some people think that you shouldn't get reparations or you don't need reparations. Some people think that you do, of course. Like, I'm kind of a person that think that you do need reparations, but I honestly don't think that we're gonna get reparations. Honestly, I just think this whole little hearing and talking and stuff is just theatrics. It's just to make you think. It's not. I don't know. I don't. It could happen, and I hope it does happen, but kind of and what's the word, disbelief or something like that, that this will happen. Like, I don't believe this will happen. But of course, you have people like Cory Booker, who's running for president. Danny Glover, we all know him as an actor, most famous for his role in The Color Purple and stuff like that. And you have a couple of people I never personally heard of. Like, I never heard of Coleman Hughes really until Wednesday, and I never really heard of Ta-Nehisi Coates or whatever till Wednesday, and others. But and they always just up, talking about reparations, giving them their own little idea of what should happen or what reparations should be, basically, or if they think that American descendants of slavery should even get reparations at all. But besides that, you also have this senator by the name of Mitch McConnell. Yes, this man right here. He basically came out and was saying stuff like, of course, a lot of white people, honestly speaking, are not gonna see what's the whole point of reparations, a whole big deal about it and stuff like that, which I understand. But at the same time, reparations is something that should be highly considered, And I'm actually surprised that people are actually talking about it like this in such a big scale or huge scale. But anyway, Mitch McConnell, he's also the senator of Kentucky, I believe. But anyway, Wednesday he came out and said that he believed that reparations, shouldn't happen, basically, because for one, it was so long ago, which it was a long time ago, of course. It was 150 plus years ago. And he also said something like, yeah, we tried to pay for the original sin of slavery by fighting the Civil War and by, forget the other stuff he said, I think Civil Rights Acts or something like that, and by President Obama being elected in 2008 and 2012, which is total baloney. Like for one, like, dude, like, I'm tired of people thinking that, and I'm pretty sure y'all heard this before, like, but slavery, like, the North, what I'm trying to say is the North didn't necessarily fight the Civil War for slavery. You know this for the simple fact that Abraham Lincoln came out and said that if he could save the Union without freeing the slaves, he would do that. Like, that should just give it away right there, that the Union necessarily wasn't this. Of course, you had abolitionists and stuff that mainly was in the North, but the majority of the North didn't necessarily give a damn about slavery. Like, they just didn't. Like, so it's not like they went into the South and stuff just like hunting Confederates or whatever because they owned slaves. Like, no, that's not what it was, really. Not really. Then secondly, like, the Civil Rights Act, and shit, that shit just happened from a direct effect of slavery. Like, you had Jim Crow and shit in place. Like, it makes no sense that you're trying to say that. And then secondly, it's not like the United States government tried to fucking, make it right, make the civil rights of blacks equal and stuff. It took black people to fucking fight and stuff for civil rights for blacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you might have had a couple of, whites and whatever marching and stuff, the little Bernie Sanders types, But for the most part, it took blacks to stand up and basically fight for their rights, Like, it's not like I was watching The Breakfast Club the other day, and Charlamagne made a good point. It's not like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and them just went to Congress at a hearing like similar to what you see here that happened on Wednesday and just got civil rights done and not racism, but segregation and stuff was over. Like it didn't work like that. They had to go out there and get dogs ticked on them, water hoses and stuff turned on them, cops beating the heck out their asses and stuff like that, getting thrown in jail, just all types of stuff, even dying. A lot of people died fighting for civil rights and stuff like that. And then it's just like the Mitch McConnell guy said, like, oh, nobody alive is responsible for what happened during slavery, which is true, of course, because no slave owners or anybody that had to do with slavery in those days are alive today, of course not. But there are countless of companies that are still alive that benefited off slavery. So why does it matter then that it was that long ago if these companies still exist? Companies like, let's see, I already got it pulled up. Companies like Tiffany and Company, companies like USA Today, Wells Fargo, New York Life, J.P. Morgan Chase, let's see, Bank of America, Aetna, AIG, all of these companies benefited off slavery and still are up and running today. Like Aetna, as you can see, insured the lives of slaves in the 1850s. Like they had whole insurance policies and stuff on slaves. Like that's, well, it's not crazy. Like of course you got it, it is what it is. And that's just crazy. Like then you also have like universities and stuff. Like Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Penn, Columbia, Rutgers, Brown, Dartmouth, and the University of Delaware. Like all benefited off slavery. Like getting money from people that owned slaves to fund their school. Just like how you get parents today that like donate, or not just parents, but alumni to donate money to the college they went to after they graduated and stuff. It's the same thing happening, but these people own slaves. And so the money they got from the slaves, or picking cotton, or from selling slaves, or whatever they was doing, they would give it to these college, like us, donations or a fundraiser or something. Also, Yale University also received money from slave trading. Money from slave trading went to its endowed scholarships, professorship, and library. So, like, a lot of things that are still up and running today benefited off slavery. Like, no matter how you slice it, like, it doesn't matter, like, that it was 150 plus years ago. Because, like I said, this company's still running today. So that's just a whole bunch of baloney. We can just be honest and just say, you don't want to give, you don't feel like you should just give reparations just because you don't want to. But you coming up with these whack excuses to why you shouldn't give reparations is like, it's just shows you how a lot of people think and stuff about the whole issue of reparations and stuff. And it's not just him, it's also black people. Like the guy that was at the hearing that spoke, Coleman Hughes, like, let's see, Coleman Hughes, he spoke, which I'm not here to bash the man, or you can think or feel however you want to feel, because at the end of the day, they was just talking. It doesn't necessarily mean anything is going to come from this, unfortunately. Even though I hope that something does come from this, but nothing came from this. But the Coleman Hughes guy, basically, he was, he was saying that not every black person should get reparations, just maybe the people that live through Jim Crow and segregation and stuff, which is understandable. I can get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, what's the point of just giving older people money when a couple of years they're gonna be dead? Unfortunately, I hate to be negatively thinking about this, but let's be honest. That 20 years, older people definitely can die, like within 20 years, especially if they grew up during segregation and stuff. Like, yeah, they can die in 20 years, like 20 years or less, let me say. But like I said, I'm not here to bash him on what he said or how he felt about the whole idea. We all got our own opinions and stuff to feel about the idea. I mean, the issue, like as I said, I believe that yes, we do need some kind of form of reparations. But see, my issue is I don't know what it should be necessarily. See, I don't think that it should be a check. It should be a check. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it should be a check for the simple fact that they're going to shortchange you if it's a check. You're not going to get a check for no 15,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. No, that's ridiculous. You're not going to get a check for that much. If you were to get a check, you would probably get a $2,000 check, some little stimulus package type shit. Which a 2,000 check to me isn't no kind of form of reparations. Honestly, like even if I didn't have money on me, that's like no form of reparations. It should be more so of an insult. Because, like I said, I just don't see them giving a huge amount of money. Like, a lump sum of money. I don't see that. I don't see it. If they do it, they're going to try to be like, oh, there's so many people that we can do like $2,000 a piece, for each person, each black person who was affected by slavery, American slavery, or whatever. But I don't think that this is why it's kind of tricky. So I can understand why some people were like, "Oh, we should have a discussion" or all that. But it's tricky because we want to give the right thing. I feel like that's why it's tricky, and that's why you should want to talk about it because you want to compensate people the right way, not shortchanging them or doing them wrong. So, but like I said, I don't think that this whole reparations thing is gonna happen. Especially if you have somebody like Cory Booker or somebody like if it's up to them. If it's up to Cory Booker, like I don't think we get reparations. If it's up to Bernie Sanders, no. Joe Biden, no. All of these, no. These people don't want to give you reparations. That's why, like I notice this every time, like for the most part that mention reparations to these people, these politicians in particular, that they choke up. They basically, oh, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna have a study, and we're gonna do something for everybody, and prison reform. I hate the whole when they mention prison reform when you talk about reparations and shit. I hate that because not every fucking black person goes to prison. Like, not every black person go to freaking jail. Some black people don't go to jail none like in their whole life. So what benefit of some kind of prison reform? What is that going to benefit somebody that's not going to prison? So I don't like all of that, honestly. But I think that giving land or property in some kind of manner this would be the most appropriate and best form of reparations, just because you can literally wake up tomorrow and their dollar bills will be worth nothing. But to give people something that they can live on, grow on, build on, or even sell for money is something that I feel like is, fair to an extent, But back to the hearing that happened and stuff, like all of these, like, and like the Ta-nehisi Coastal, he actually made a good point, basically. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy sitting next to Danny Glover, who is just the guy basically on the far left of the picture in the front. But he basically made a good point towards Mitch McConnell in his comments, his comments saying stuff like basically like he was alive when George Staney was a fucking fan fell. Shit scared the shit out of me. Excuse me. But basically, Mitch McConnell was alive when George Staney was executed. And if you don't know who George Staney is, he's basically the youngest boy or the youngest person, shall I say, to ever be electrocuted or be on the death penalty. And he was on the death penalty because of, I think he was part of the Scottsboro Nine, if I'm not mistaken, which was like the 9 boys was basically falsely accused, of course, of raping a white female or whatever. Uh, and he had to basically pay for. Excuse me, I'm trying to make sure he actually part of the Scottsboro Nine or Scottsboro Boys, shall I say, or however you want to say it. Let's see. I don't think he was part of the Scottsboro Nine. Hold on. I actually got confused with somebody else. Dang, I'm trying to find the name of these boys. Let's see. Who was it? Okay, I think I made a mistake. I don't think George Staney was part of the Scottsboro Nine. Okay, I made a mistake. George Staney wasn't part of the Scottsboro Nine, which the Scottsboro Nine is also another messed up thing that happened in during those times. Like, it's just real messed up. But George Staney, which is also, if you can like make a comparison, the Scottsboro Nine is actually very, similar in a sense to the Central Park Five. It's just that Central Park Five happened in 1989 or whatever, and this happened long ago, way before then. But George Staney, basically, he was the youngest kid to ever be put on the death penalty and die. But he was basically accused of the murder of 2 white girls, which I'm pretty sure, I don't think he did that, honestly, at the end of the day. But basically, Ta-nehisi Coates was basically saying that he was alive, that Mitch McConnell was alive when this happened. So you should see that racism, like slavery and the whole things, all the stuff that happened during slavery and Jim Crow and stuff, all this stuff happened recently. It not just happened so long ago, but it happened within your lifetime. Like, pretty sure Mitch McConnell, I'm not saying he had slave owning ancestors, but his parents or somebody, they knew somebody, his parents or his grandparents knew somebody that owned slaves or had to do something with slavery. I guarantee you that. I bet, I'm putting my money on that. But basically, it's like for one, it's bigger than slavery. It's bigger than slavery. We was enslaved for so long, for hundreds of years. Then after that, we have to go through like what, like let's just say a whole century, basically, damn near, of racial injustice. Like, that's just, so we actually need reparations and more, honestly. But as I said, do I think that we're gonna get these reparations? No, unfortunately. I wish. I really do wish. And it's sad that it probably won't happen. I hate to be such a non-believer, but I just don't see it happening. Not anytime soon. Maybe somewhere down the line it'll happen. Stuff like that. But it's just, if you got people like Mitch McConnell thinking how he think and stuff, thinking that, you know, you had a black president and there wasn't enough reparations, like, or we fought, we had the Civil War, we freed the slaves. It just doesn't matter because, for one, if you know anything, like the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free all the slaves; it just freed the slaves in the rebelling states. So that means that even if it was a Southern state, but if it didn't succeed from the Union, it could still have the slaves. That's why I hate watching movies and all of that type of stuff. They're trying to make the Civil War seem so, it's like they just fought it over slavery. Like, that's not the case. It's Unfortunately, it's not the case. It would be nice if that was the case, that it was a group, or like some people had such animosity and stuff towards the institutions of slavery that they waged a war against it. Yeah, that would be nice if that didn't happen. And unfortunately, but I don't know. Wouldn't say I'm lost for words, but I wonder what's going to come from this. It's probably will be nothing. And if they do give us some type of form of reparations, it's going to be something that basically is going to be just a kick to the face, basically, like that. But y'all comment down below, tell me what y'all think. Do you think that African, or how I get confused with all this shit. American descendants of slavery should get reparations. Which I believe that, yes, we do need some kind of form of reparations because we never got reparations. And then it's like, of course, you got some rich black people, and you know, like that, they deserve reparations too. It shouldn't be something like that that can't apply to everybody. That's what I'm trying to say. See, that's the thing. Like, that's what makes it a tricky type of thing, because you don't know what to give everybody so it can benefit everybody. You know what I'm saying? You can't do prison reform or free education because not everybody wants to go to college or school, and not everybody wants. I mean, excuse me, not everybody is going to prison. I mean, I'm pretty sure not everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody doesn't want to go to prison as well. But it's a tricky type of subject. And as I said, comment, tell me what you think on this issue. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, and so you know when I'm dropping more videos or whatever. Man, without further ado, it's Route 3, and I'm gone.